Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 is almost over. We are literally in the end game right now. And I've been working on both my top 10 favorite things from 2024 and also my top 10 worst movies and shows of 2024. At some point in time, the worst list just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I started to realize that the worst list actually needed to be chopped in half. It had to become two separate lists. There had to be the top 10 worst things I've watched in 2024, but then there also had to be another list, which were the top 10 things that I saw that I believe should have been sent to the Shadow Realm expeditiously. So, welcome to the Shadow Realm list. Here are the 10 things that came out this year that I think that if they were in Yu-Gi-Oh, I would have used every single piece of the Millennium Puzzle to send it straight to the Shadow Realm with Bakura.
I hear the Shadow Realm's lovely this time of year. Let's find out if it's
We're going to be starting at the bottom, but to be quite honest, I don't really feel as though this is a 1 to 10 type situation. All of these things are absolutely fucking horrible. However, if we're going to be starting at the thing that just disappointed me the most, and I just wish that the entirety of the final season was sent to the Shadow Realm first, we are going to begin with the final season of the Umbrella Academy. I have no idea what happened in any way, shape, or form. The writing was there to have a fantastic final season that sends off all of the Hargrave children in a meaningful way. And the writers at Netflix were like, nah, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to create a crisis that makes absolutely no sense in any way, shape, or form. We're going to break all of the rules that we established in regards to time travel. We are suddenly going to be dealing with parallel realities and a multiverse connected through a train system that was always there from the beginning that we somehow were unaware of, and somehow the other characters who were traveling through time were also unaware of. And then we're going to kill all of our characters and reset the entire universe and resolve absolutely nothing. When I tell you this broke me. when I tell you this broke me. Watching all of these characters that I really like go out the way in which they did, with no closure in any way, shape, or form, with them turning into like fucking flowers to be like, oh, it wasn't the characters, it was the journey. Fuck you. Across the board, I don't care. Fuck Netflix. Fuck the person who directed this. The director of this was, hold on, I got your name here, buddy. Jeremy Slater. You developed it. Showrunners were Steve Blackman and Jesse McCowan. Yeah, fuck you guys. Across the board. It was absolutely horrible. You're lucky that I don't see the person who wrote this piece of shit on here. Otherwise, I'd be telling you to go fuck yourself as well. But this was a butchering of characters that we had come to love over the last few seasons. This is an absolute butchering of the character arcs that most of the characters were on. The idea that Diego and what's her name would go off and get married and have kids, and then she would cheat on Diego with fucking Five. I know people got on me during the regular review because I kept calling him Fives. That's a holdover from the Clone Wars. But yeah, no. The idea that Lila would cheat on Diego after everything in the character development that they went through over the last few seasons, absolute dog shit writing. And I can only hope that the showrunners and the person who developed this never in any way, shape, or form get another job at Netflix show running or running another show. Because the second I see your name in the title card anywhere, I'm instantaneously no longer watching. And moving on to something that's a little bit controversial, a little bit, just a wee bit close to the vest, the Acolyte. I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to put the Acolyte on the Shadow Realm list. I thought I was just going to put it on the top 10 worst list. But the more and more I honestly thought about the Acolyte, the more and more I realized just how bad not only the writing was, not only the world building was, but just how bad everything in regards to the show was. Like the PR for the actors and the showrunner outside of the show, the writing inside of the show, the way in which they handle certain things inside of the show. I will give it to the Acolyte. It probably gave me my favorite lightsaber duels that I've received in the last few years, and it honestly showed just how terrifying a Darksider actually is. But if I just take out like that small thing that I enjoy, and then I honestly sit down and I watch just the story that they're attempting to tell, the story is a dud. The show, I don't want to say the show was dead on arrival, but I am a believer that the work should stand for itself, where we really need to go back to the era where actors talking to press and talking about a show or something that they're working on really needs to be handled by PR, where it's like, no, don't go on your friggin' Instagram or your stories or get on Facebook or get on TikTok and make a fucking music video. No, don't like start bashing fans, even if the fans are being assholes. Like, leave all that shit alone. Let what you've created stand on its own merit. And I keep pointing this out because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's because of women and hatred towards women and hatred towards minorities and all this type of shit." And I'm consistently pointing towards Arcane, where I said Arcane is one of those shows that it was allowed to stand on its own merit, where Arcane has two gay couples, an interracial couple, um, multiple different characters of different ethnicities, shit, even different races that are written so well that people don't give a shit about that. They just enjoy the story that is being told. If someone is critiquing the story that you're attempting to tell, and the first thing you do is get defensive and say that, well, you don't like my story because I'm a woman. No, I don't like your story because your story's bad. And we need to get back to where PR is reining in and handling the actors and also the showrunners from making complete and utter asses of themselves and then doubling down on being an ass for themselves and then tanking any interest people might have in the project that you're attempting to create. We need to go back to PR speak is what I'm basically saying, where when you go out there to talk to people, they give you note cards. This is what you can talk about. These are the bullet points that we want you to hit. If you want to talk about yourself, that's fine. But don't talk about yourself in relation to like the show. Like, let people watch the show, see how they feel about the show, and then you can start talking about how, you know, the character relates to you in regards to a story of something that happened in your life. Just having the people out there just wheeling and dealing it created a shitstorm that completely cannibalized any type of interest anyone would have in the show. And that shitstorm morphed into a hate storm really fucking quickly. And once again, both Disney was caught flat-footed in being able to protect their actors, actresses, and the people who work for them, but also the actors and actresses who basically created that shitstorm and hate storm were completely caught flat-footed with the amount of vitriol that was about to come their way. This is a show that I think deserves to go into the Shadow Realm, and if anything, it really needs to be put on a fucking banner and carried around anytime you have people that have this type of mentality going into a project where they think that the way in which they see the world is more optimal from the way in which other people see the world, without trying to create a common bridge, which opens up an avenue for people to be able to see what the message is that they're essentially attempting to send. But let's move on from the Acolyte and completely forget that this entire situation ever happened. Like, Disney kind of forgot due to the fact that like they pulled all of the Acolyte merchandise off of the internet. They scrubbed all of the stuff and merchandise that they were attempting to sell to like fans off of their stores. We're gonna treat the Acolyte the exact same way and completely forget that this show ever existed. Oh, The Rock. I'm here to tell you right now, if you have been on this channel for a really, really long time, you know that I do not like one Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I have consistently said for the longest time that The Rock is an absolute fucking fraud. 100% fraud. He is not, in any way, shape, or form, the best actor to come out of the WWE. That title of Best Actor I would give to Dave Bautista. And then I would say right behind Dave Bautista by about an inch is oh my god, why do I almost want to call him John Stewart? John Cena. Those two are absolutely fantastic. I think that when The Rock first arrived in Hollywood, he honestly tried. If you were to watch his run from The Rundown, no, I want to say Walking Tall came before The Rundown. Whichever one of those two movies came first, all the way up to Pain and Gain, it's a fantastic run. He plays so many, his characters are so versatile from like that 4 or 5 movie run ending in Pain and Gain. Then when he got the role in Fast 5, also fantastic. Like he gave Luke Hobbs an identity. Everything after Fast 5, caricature. It was basically all variations of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Doesn't help the fact that he has in his fucking contract that, you know, he can't lose a fight. So you create a hilarious situation where The Rock, Jason Statham, and Vin Diesel all have it in their contracts. They can't lose a fight, but they're all in a movie where they're fighting each other, which creates, you know, the constant stalemate situation where, hey, I roll a grenade underneath you. You get blown out of a window and land on top of a car, and then I just skedaddle away. Stupid. But Red One is the epitome of The Rock, where everything is just bombastic, where they're like, no, we need to get all of these super just high named actors into a film that is just all about cheesy one-liners that really doesn't have that good Christmas feeling to it. Like, you know, like those cheesy Christmas movies that you used to be able to really enjoy, where you could either go somewhere between not Last Action Hero. What was that one where Arnold Schwarzenegger was trying to buy that toy for his kid? Where you're trying to get a balance between something like that and then something that is more on the outlier of a Christmas movie like Die Hard. This is trying to hit like that balance, but it really doesn't hit any of the notes in any way, shape, or form. It's completely forgettable. The action is forgettable. The Rock is The Rock. Chris Evans is just there to collect the paycheck. Lucy Liu is just there to collect the paycheck. Everyone's there to just collect a paycheck. And everything just feels really, really phoned in. And once again, it just burns on this pyre that The Rock has created of his career over his last few movies, where somehow, once again, they find a way to completely inflate and blow up the budget. There is no way in hell this film cost $250 million. None. And once again, we're sitting in a situation where we start to hear things about how The Rock is late to showing up to set. Things had to be reshot here. More money had to be thrown into this. This is like the 4th movie in a row where we're hearing the exact same rumors about The Rock all over again. And it's just like, at what point do you get exhausted? At what point does he continue to shovel the exact same schlop in your direction every single fucking year with a brand new tag on it before you're just like, dude, this is the same character you played in Red with Ryan Reynolds. This is the same character you played in fucking Black Adam. This is the same character you played in that other fucking movie that you did a couple years ago. Always the same. And it's always the same fit. Tired of it. This is another film of The Rock's that just slides right into the shadow realm for me, and I never want to see it again. If The Rock's career ended this year, I would be so fucking happy never having to see his character pop up on a screen again, like at all. And I'm so mad that he dragged Chris Evans into this, because I almost feel as though he pitched Chris Evans the same stupid bullshit he pitched Henry Cavill, that had Henry Cavill's final role as Superman be in his shitty Black Adam movie, which I will never forgive him for. But no, Red One is a dud. No one went to go see this film. It was absolute fucking ass. It had a few laughs here and there, but it's definitely a film that I feel as though we can leave in the shadow realm as well. You know, I just got off of talking about The Rock and Red One and Henry Cavill. Whoever decided to give Henry Cavill this cut in Argylle, you need to get your ass whipped. Across the board, somebody needs to put absolute pause on. I didn't think it was possible to make Henry Cavill look goofy until I saw this cut. I don't know what to say about this film. This is one of those films which it It's relying on the twists and turns to keep you invested in the story. But about 15 minutes into this movie, you really don't give a shit. If this movie was just about Henry Cavill's super spy, and like if I remember off the top of my head, I think it's connected to the Kingsman universe. If this film was just about that, I think it would have been good because Henry Cavill did another spy film. He did a spy film with that cannibal dude. The Man from Uncle. I want to call it The Man from Uncle. That was fantastic, and that was one of those films that made a lot of people sit back and go, "Oh shit, hold up." He may actually be in the running to play James Bond. And I felt that way. And I always wanted a sequel to Man of Uncle. If Argylle had hit the exact same tones as The Man from Uncle, I feel as though I'd feel completely different about I feel as though I would feel. Ugh. I'd feel complete I'd be completely different about the way in which I look at this film. As a fan of the Kingsman franchise, which is Kingsman 1, Kingsman 2, The Kingsman, Argylle would have been one of those fantastic films that would have fit, I would say, right before Eggsy, probably setting up, because Camelot was, oh my God, Camelot was Alfred from Christian Bale's Batman. Why can't I? Michael Keaton. No, not Michael Caine. Yeah, Michael Caine. Camelot was Michael Caine. It would have been cool to discover that Argylle was Camelot before the Michael Caine Camelot took over, or he was the one that was basically setting up Kingsman to what we basically saw in the first Kingsman, but deciding to create this like pseudo trip of I'm a spy, but I'm no longer a spy because I gave myself amnesia, but I remember all the spy stuff and I'm writing the spy stuff in a book, but then that spy stuff isn't really stuff that happened in the past. It's stuff that's happening right now that I wouldn't be aware of because I gave myself amnesia, and people are trying to figure out how I know about things that are basically occurring right now. And then I get towards the end and realize that I was the spy that I was basically writing about, only to discover at the end that the spy that I was writing about was actually a spy who's actually real. No, I don't give a fuck. Stop. Checked out 30 minutes in. Sam Rockwell, I fucking love you. Bryce Dallas Howard, you are in some other multiversal reality, my wife. But I'm sorry, my love, you could not save this film. Like I said, if the film was just about Henry Cavill doing super dope spy stuff with his assistant John Cena, who could have been a member of what was the American organization called in Kingsman 2? Statesman. If John Cena was a member of Statesman and then Argylle himself was a member of Kingsman, you discover that towards the end. It was like a collaborative project between the both of them to basically take down this dangerous organization that threatened both the United States and the UK. I would have loved it. But this whole back and forth thing about it being a book, her writing the book, stuff happening real, them wanting her because she knows stuff that she shouldn't, her being a spy but not being there for this stuff, but remembering this stuff. No, it got way too convoluted. Take out like 6 of the plots. Focus on the one. This film would have been great. It would have been absolutely freaking fantastic. I would have even casted Sam Rockwell as a villain. He's always fun when he's a villain. But no, this is just one of those films that I'm kind of upset that the end of it even hinted at the fact that it was connected to Kingsman, because I love that universe. And it pisses me off that this piece of shit is in some way, shape, or form connected to those 3 films that I absolutely friggin' love. Argylle is just one of those films. Once again, you pick up, you don't drop it in the worst of 2024, you drop it in the bottomless pit that is known as the Shadow Realm so that you forget that this film ever existed. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this. Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why? This is one of those situations where a company has an IP that they don't know what to do with. It's just been sitting there. And maybe the IP pops off on TikTok. Like people start talking about the IP consistently for 3 weeks on TikTok. It's putting out A1 memes on TikTok. And some guys like, you know what? We haven't done anything with this IP in 20 years. How about we make a sequel and just stick it on Hulu? Why? Because if you're gonna make a sequel, you'd want to make it good. You would want to make a sequel that brings back the nostalgic feeling, but tells a really, really good story that people for today can relate to. Megamind feels like it was written 20 years ago. Its jokes feel like they're 20 years old. Like there are jokes in this film that I was just like, yeah, nah, like I would have, yeah, that's something I'd have laughed at when I was probably in high school. Its jokes are dated. The story's kind of dated and bland. We've been here before. Like, if anything, I really feel as though this movie crippled any interest in re-exploring the Megamind universe in the future in any way, shape, and form. And for that, it goes somewhere different. It doesn't go on the top 10 worst list. No. It goes into the Shadow Realm. It goes straight there. Like no, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not even assemble the Millennium Puzzle. Just enter the door of death so that we never see you again, so that we never have to think about you again, and so that the next time you come up in conversation over at DreamWorks, they're like, nah. We know where this is gonna go. We know how badly we fucked up. We're not going to be bringing back this IP in any way, shape, or form in the future. And I say good, because you ruined it. You ruined something that wasn't even a great animated film back in the day, but it was a solid animated film back in the day. Like how people will talk about Finding Nemo and Shark Tale, where you love Finding Nemo, but Shark Tale isn't on the same emotional level as Finding Nemo, but it's still a solid animated film about fish. Yeah, that was Megamind. Not no more. You fucked up. And I never want to see anything from this IP ever again. I say we leave the IP, the animated style, the fact that everybody's heads are like 4 times too big for their fucking body. We're leaving all this in the past. 2024 is as far as it goes. I never want to see anything Megamind related ever again. And if any scene from this film ever pops up in the TikTok, I'm downvoting every single one of those videos. Oh, Zack Snyder. Boy, you lucky. Because if it wasn't for the fact that part 1 dropped... When did part 1 drop? Part 1 dropped... I think it dropped Christmas or around Christmas 2023. If it wasn't for the fact that part 1 of this shitty franchise dropped. Oh my god, wait a minute. Isn't there one more? No. No, it's only these 2. I got scared there for a minute. I was like, oh my god, I have one more of these to watch? No, that's impossible. No, if it wasn't for the fact that part 1 of Rebel Moon dropped in December, like 2023, I gotta turn all these lights off. Your boy is sweating. That would be on this list as well. When I tell you, I find Snyder bots funny, because they will constantly jump up and down and talk about Henry Cavill and Man of Steel and Zack Snyder and the Justice League and blah, 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 blah. And when you bring up the fact that Zack Snyder can't write, they're like, no, he can write. Look at how he did Zack Snyder's The Justice League with Darkseid. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, but the story for that would have led Superman to get cucked. Bruce Wayne has sex with Lois Lane. She ends up having his kid. And then Superman raises that kid that Lois Lane cheated on him with Batman. Lois Lane cheats on Superman with Batman and has his kid. And then Superman helps her raise that kid. That's called getting cucked. That's what Zack Snyder had planned for Superman. The version of Superman that y'all keep glazing consistently online every single day since Justice League came out years ago. That's what he had planned. And when I point to Rebel Moon and I go, this story sucks, They don't want to talk about Rebel Moon. You've never seen anyone who's a Snyder bot ever mention Rebel Moon. Before Rebel Moon came out, they were jumping up and down. They were like, yeah, Rebel Moon! Zack Snyder's gonna do Star Wars because fuck Disney! Yeah! Then Rebel Moon dropped, and you ain't hear a goddamn thing from these people anymore. Not a peep. Not a word. You wanna know why? Because they watched this film, they sat back in their chair, and they went, holy shit. Does he fucking suck as a director? Yes. He does. I'm extremely sorry. Rebel Moon and Part 1 and Part 2 were the films that finally exposed Zack Snyder for being the fraud that he actually is. He is not a good director. Can he do an action scene? Abso-fucking-lutely. He can produce the hell out of an action scene. I would happily, if Zack Snyder tomorrow, if James Gunn came out tomorrow and said, Zack Snyder will be doing all the action for the Wonder Woman movie when we make the Wonder Woman movie, I'd be 100% on board because I know that Wonder Woman is about to throw down in that film. But when you come around and you trust Zack Snyder to direct, there's going to be an overusage of slow-mo. If you trust Zack Snyder to do the story, he is going to hit the exact same story beats for every single one of his films. And it's going to become boring. It's going to burn you out. You're going to be like, what is this? What is going on? Why are we even going in this direction in regards to the character and the story? For what? Why do we kill off that person? That person was better than that person that you're keeping alive. Horrible. Rebel Moon the Scargiver is ass. The entire thing. Notice how nobody's talked about Rebel Moon Part 1 or Part 2 for like the entire year. Rebel Moon Part 2 came out. When did this drop? This came out. When was the release date for this? Hold on, wait a minute. April 19th, 2024 was the release date for Rebel Moon Part 2. No one's talked about Rebel Moon for the entire year. You want to know why? It's in the Shadow Realm. It's in the Shadow Realm. That's where it is. It is in the Shadow Realm. It came out April 19th. It went into the Shadow Realm April 20th. No one has spoken about Rebel Moon in any way, shape, or form for the last 8 months. It has been dead. And no one will ever talk about it ever again. There will never be a continuation of this shitty-ass franchise. There will never be a spin-off that's relevant in any way, shape, or form because the writing is abysmal. And the Snyder bots who watched it saw that it was abysmal. And they can't even use it to defend Zack Snyder the way in which they want to. I say we'll leave it down there. We're not gonna reach in there. We're not gonna try and get it. Nah, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it down there. Just gotta leave it. You gotta leave it. We can't bring it with us. It's gotta stay where it is. It's been down there in the shadows for the last 8 months. No TikToks, no videos, not even any lore explainers. Nothing. It came out, it instantaneously died. And I can't and to be quite honest, I can't even fault anyone for feeling that way because we all felt the exact same way. From the western seas where the Snyder bots reside to the eastern shore where people who have a clue reside. We all came together collectively, looked upon this steaming pile of monkey crap that Zack Snyder dumped at our doorstep and went, wow, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. But yeah, no. Let's leave Rebel Moon in the Shadow Realm where it deserves to be. And let's never, ever, ever speak about this again. And let's never, ever, ever bring up Zack Snyder as being one of the great directors ever again. Man, this was about to be a twofer. Correction. This is about to be 2 separate things. But I don't feel like doing 2 separate things because I feel as though the Sony Spider-Man experiment is finally over. The attempt to create a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man was always going to be trash. And both of these films proved that they would have been 100 times better if they had Spider-Man in their film. And we are talking about both Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. Boy, oh boy. Let's talk about Madam Web first. What a piece of shit film. And the story aside, I really do feel like the marketing for this film was trying to deceive the casual moviegoer. Because like the marketing for this film was like, yeah, you want to see Sydney Sweeney as a version of Spider-Girl? Yeah, I do. I would have liked to see Sydney Sweeney as a Spider-Woman. I'd have liked to see them be web slinging throughout the city doing spider crap. That ain't what we got. The stuff that they showed in the trailer, that was all filler. That a dream sequence at that. Never even got to see the characters actually in their suits. The dude who they picked to be the villain of the film, what even is his motivation? Oh my god, I lost the fight in 2099 to these 3 Spider-Women. As a direct result of me losing that one fight, I'm going to travel into the past and I'm going to kill these 3 Spider-Women before they become Spider-Women. Why? You lost one fight. You have the technology to create time travel, or you have the means to go through to travel through time, but you don't have the means to kill 3 Spider-Women in your own timeline separately. What's protecting these 3 Spider-Women? You got pieced up in that timeline. You got like this unlimited power to come back into the past and do stupid shit. Why are you here? Why are you here? Also, like the idea that what's her name? Dakota Johnson is like a paramedic working with Peter Parker's parents, and then like she has to protect like was there a pregnant? No, hold on. I'm forgetting something here. Cause like she's working with she's as a paramedic, she's working with Ben Parker, right? Hold on. Yeah, Adam Scott was playing Ben Parker. And then Mary Parker, Emma Roberts was in this film as well. When I tell you I deleted most of the information for this film out of my fucking mind, I am not kidding. When I saw this film, like the Sydney Sweeney stuff happened with like the whole, oh, look at the girls in their costumes, and then you realize it was a dream sequence. They were never going to be in their costumes to fight like the main villain in a meaningful way. And the fact that like they were so skimpish on like the web slinging aspect that it didn't really feel like a spider. Like this dude's an evil Spider-Man. You expect to see him like web slinging through the city like Tom Holland or somebody, but there really wasn't any of that. It was just like a foot chase. I was like, why are we here? Why are we here? Why are we afraid to say Peter Parker's name? Huh? Like why are we terrified in some way, shape, or form to make Madam Web be the jumping off point of a Spider-Verse film? Huh? Like what's the fear here? What was the fear of not using Spider-Man? I need to know. What was the fear of not introducing Spider-Man in the Venom universe? Huh? Like, for the most part, I really do feel as though Venom should have been, what is his name? Anytime I want to remember somebody's name, I forget it. And I don't remember it for like 30 seconds. Andrew Garfield. I really feel as though Andrew Garfield should have been the Spider-Man for this universe. The reason why Venom sees Spider-Man as a bad guy is because in his universe, it would make the most sense that in New York, Spider-Man's basically a murderer. Like he's been killing criminals. Like it would make the most sense that connection. Venom going to New York and fighting Spider-Man after he does his multiversal travel would have made the most sense. Bringing Andrew Garfield back to be like the connecting tissue for this different universe thing would have made the most sense. The idea that we were going to make a Spider-Man universe with all of these Spider-Man characters without involving Spider-Man in any way, shape, or form had to be the most contrived Sony move Sony has ever made. Not only that, but when you sit down and you watch Kraven the Hunter, as I'm watching Kraven the Hunter, I was like, you want to know what would have made this a whole lot better? If this movie was based around Kraven's last hunt. If the movie was based around Kraven's last hunt, that would have made this film a whole lot better. Instead, it's not. It's basically Kraven, and he's got his mystical powers, and he lives somewhere like away from civilization with with a horrible CGI cheetah. He fights a horrible CGI rhino. They left out audio editing on the cutting room floor for sounds that should have been in the film that just weren't simply there. Neither of these movies felt as though Sony gave a shit. And as a direct result, the fans didn't give a shit. And these films bombed. And I can't even be mad at the fact that they bombed. It was just one of those things where you just sit back and you watch the train wreck and you go, yeah, you guys kind of deserve that. Because from inception, the idea that you didn't want to involve a Spider-Man character, and I really have to wonder who made that call. Was that a Marvel call or was that a Sony call? Which was like, you know, kind of like with how Arrow wasn't really Oliver Queen. He was more like Oliver Queen / Batman. But the reason why he wasn't Batman is because early on, they couldn't use Batman in any way, shape, or form. So they just basically took the coolest parts of Batman, slapped on Oliver Queen, called the show Arrow, and they kept it moving from there. It really felt like that was a situation here where they couldn't use Spider-Man. So they had to use the most interesting characters from Spider-Man's universe, but then they couldn't put them all in the same universe. So they just made them have these weird standalone movies that in some way, shape, or form eventually were supposed to come together to be a done with it. Shadow Realm. The entire project is dead. Shunt it off. Shovel it up. Toss it in. It is over. That's probably the best call Sony's made all year. They saw the writing on the wall and were like, yeah, we're not going to make any money out of this. And if anything, we keep going at this pace, we are going to continue losing money trying to do this whole Spider Universe thing without Spider-Man. Shut it all down. And if anything, if the security cameras at Sony Interactive or Sony Studios were working, you'd probably see me down there in the basement flipping those switches to shut that bitch off. It was me. I shut this shit down. I only wish I had that type of power. Like, I legit 100% wish I had that type of power. I'd have walked right in there like, Bow Wow. I'd have been like, sir, we need to hit the button to shut down the Spider-Man project. Just instantaneously hit the button. Kind of like Eggman in the first Sonic film, just hitting that button, getting y'all asses the hell up out of here, because I have no idea what it was we were trying to do, nor do I care to figure out what it is that you were trying to do. I'm just 100% happy it is all over. Well, that's it. That is the end of 2024. These were all of the shows and films that I feel as though did not deserve to go on a worst of list, but instead deserve to go on the Shadow Realm list, because we don't want to see hide nor tail of them ever again. And we sure as hell don't want to carry this baggage with us going into 2025. If there's anything that I missed that you feel as though deserves to go to the Shadow Realm as well, comment down below, let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.